Today has been eventful. I was just going through my requests and I got this ass. So respectful and wholesome. Yes, I will answer your question. We'll also talk about this, but let's go through the questions first. How was it for you at a young age? Were there also other teenagers working at the time, or is it mainly adults? It was mostly teenagers, people coming from their high school straight to the haunt right after they got out of school. Scare people. Not every haunt is like that. A lot of haunts now are aiming towards an older crowd to work in them, simply because labor laws. And there have been other reasons that I have heard, like teenagers being unruly and hard to deal with, not wanting to have to face the repercussions of if they get hurt during the night. The most important is, hey, this is a little bit more of an aged up attraction, especially when they cater to adults and it's not necessarily a family haunt. Patrons are usually older, so it would be kind of weird to have a teenager working at an aged up haunted attraction. My thing is, all safety reasons. Now, how was my time haunting as a minor? It was okay, but I was also working at a very much family attraction. So mostly families were coming through. Yeah, we would get our, adult group coming through, but it was really geared towards family, and the intensity in how we acted definitely showed that. Or at least how they wanted us to act. We were not extreme, we were not intense, and we were not allowed to touch guests. It was pretty okay on the customer front. Yeah, we did have some rough, prickly moments here and there. But my concern was mostly with the fellow employees. Inappropriate, unsafe behavior or words. Overall, it was fine, but my personal experience has been be mindful of the people you are working with and be careful. What are things to look out for, as in to be aware of, things that they'd prefer / look for versus things that could discount me? The unfortunate thing with the new wave of haunters that I am seeing is holding on to ego. And this can mean two things. Not wanting to look ridiculous, so they can't fully unfurl and act to their fullest potential because they are afraid of looking stupid. But also, another way that can be interpreted, and another way that I see, is doing this for fame chasing, basically. They want to be known. They want to be an attention grabber, which is good, for wanting to be an attention grabber. But if you're doing this specifically to get your name out there and be famous, that's not really great for working as a team. And if you have a bunch of people who are working for themselves, the haunt is not going to be as cohesive and run as smoothly as it could. Advice is to always drop that ego at the door, for both the reason of letting yourself fully embrace being scary and being a little bit ridiculous in front of people, and also not being like, me, I want this to be about me, I want to be famous, I want to be the best one here, That doesn't make a great show. And the more that you get in the industry, the more you will realize that if your haunt sucks and someone says the entire haunt sucked but there was one good actor there, that's not a good thing. That's not I was the good actor. Now you're associated with an incredibly bad show, and that is not great. They're thinking about how bad the show was first, not how great you were, and the fact that you work there. It's not what we want, okay? Willingness to learn is the biggest realistic thing that I can say is looked for. There have been people that can do scary voices. There have been people that can contort their body. There have been people that are really, really wide in the range of characters that they can play. People who are really physically capable, so they can be aggressive all night, and they can run at a really high rate all night. However, they're not willing to hear any critique. They don't really want to learn anything new. They kind of want to do what they want to do, and if they have to be put in a different scene, or if they have to run a different character, or they have to adapt to something, they don't really enjoy doing that, and that can really bring down how well your chances are going to be to stay. I was not correct, but I feel like I filmed for too long to restart that. How good your chances are going to be that they're going to want you back next year. But other things that, some people can do, and I say that the last thing I mentioned The reason I say that that's realistic is this is your first time ever working at a haunt, this is your first time ever having a reason to do any of those things, it's not expected of you to have like a bunch of skills that is like, yes, I can contort, yes, I can change my voice, yes, I can throw my voice. It's not expected of you. The willingness to learn, the willingness to get a little silly, to get that scare, the willingness to be adaptable, that is expected, and it's necessary to be a haunt actor. You may see a character that is an icon character that has been around for a while. Icon characters are great and all. I don't care how long you've been doing this. If you're like, nope, this is my character, this is all I'm doing, this is all I'm willing to do, this is all I can do anymore, we can improve. We can teach an old dog doing tricks. On top of being willing to learn and being adaptable, it's always good to have, you know, a couple tricks up your sleeve. Like being able to do different voices. Not just a high-pitched voice either. Or for dudes, the Beetlejuice voice. Those are like really common and really easy. It's not bad that you can do, I'm not saying that it's bad that you can do them, because those are still useful. Just it's even better when you can do something a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't bad, alright? But it's also good to be able to do different things, okay? Nobody take this personally, okay? Being able to do weird stuff with your body, aka like being super flexible and being able to do things with your flexibility that are scary looking in the dark is also fun, you know, and great. I will say, however, being able to contort does not make up for the lack of being able to act, okay? I do just want to say that, alright? None of these things will save you if you cannot act. Full transparency. I myself walked in with nothing but a couple years of makeup experience under my belt. I had never acted before. I didn't know how to be scary. I didn't know really how to change my voice beyond doing different accents, which is not entirely helpful. Like, great, there's a British person here. Ooh. Whoa, you're Russian. Crazy. But I was willing to learn. Look where it got me. Actually, maybe let's not look where they got me. Last actual question, what was the hardest part? That is really easy for me to answer. It was getting over the stage fright. You have ever interacted with me in person and go, oh my gosh, Fall. I am so awkward, and unfortunately sometimes I come off as aloof and even rude because I genuinely don't know, like I'm thinking so hard of how to like respond to you and be like a normal human that sometimes I just am quiet and it's like, oh, I guess she doesn't really want to talk to me. I do, I promise, I'm sorry. That carried over even when I had a mask on. And my first character, I had a mask on. Not even a mask that was articulated. It was just a full, like, shell over my face, okay? Nobody knew who I was. There was no one in this world that could tell who I was. There was no like, oh my gosh, I recognize you by your teeth, which happens a lot because apparently my teeth are iconic, which I don't know if I like. Or I recognize you by your glasses, or I recognize you by your hair, or I recognize you by your voice. I was silent, I was in a mask, I was in baggy clothing, and I still was like, the first ever group I had, I was going to do a pop scare, which I received not a lot of information, so I was gonna like pop up from the ground and like just be creepy. And the first ever group, my first ever group, thought I was injured, was not scared at all, and was about to call for help. Like genuinely, like talk to the person at the ticket booth because one of their actors is down. So getting over that stage fright was the most difficult part for me, 100%. I have a lot of anxiety and I do not like messing up. I still struggle with that to this day. Messing up is the worst thing you can do. Failing, you might as well just crawl in a hole and become a mushroom. I'm working on accepting the fact that that is not true. Yeah, I have run out of time. I hope that was helpful. I will get to the comment that was made above the questions, but yeah, good luck and happy haunting.